Hello everyone, today you will learn how to create a user form in Excel with just simple formulas. You will also learn a few Excel functionalities like data validation and creating named ranges. So let's get started. This is a user form created for NotAt Limited showing spend by business unit. So you have data by quarter for 2020 and by business unit as well. So what we have is we have a budget allocated for say this quarter Q2 2020, and for finance the budget allocated is $90,000 and the spend is 63. The spend percentage is 70%. The balance is 27,000. So look at it. It is underspent. You will also see a graphical representation as well, which is also dynamic. It shows your budget spent and the balance. So if I have to just say change this to Q1 and say marketing, you see this data change along with the values here. So it's all dynamic. And yeah, and also it was very important from a management perspective to have this analysis in here, which quickly tells if for a particular quarter and particular business unit are we underspending or overspent. So yeah, in this case it's very clear that the budget was 75,000 and the spent was 90, which is again, yeah, 15,000 more than the budget, so it says overspent. So let's look at an example for underspent. So yeah, you can see Q3 finance underspent by $54,000. Again, I've used conditional formatting to for this analysis. So underspent is in green and the overspent is in red. And you'll see I have used data validations for the quarter and the business unit, and I've used SUMIFS formulas to fetch the right data for the quarter and the business unit. And the data is coming from the data tab here. This matrix table provides detailed information of budget and spent for all the business units by quarter for 2020, and I've used formulas to find the spend percentage and the balance. Also any formula to get the over and under spend as well here. So let's see how to create this from the very beginning. So this is the data that I have. So I have budget and spend details for each quarter in 2020 and also for each business unit. So I need to calculate the spend percentage, which is not spent by budget. It's got 90%, so I'll copy the formulas for the others in the column, and the balance is budget minus spent. I'll copy the formula again. Yeah, and again, if you notice, the budget is a nominal value, and any department can actually overspend if it is a valid spend, but the management needs justification as to why that is. And yeah, and for analysis, what I want to do is to now tell if it is overspent or underspent. So I have to put in a formula here. So basically, if you look at the first row here for Q1 HR, the budget is 30,000 and spent is 27. They have spent less, so that is underspent. In this case, look at it for marketing Q1, the budget is 75, they spent 90, so they overspent by 15. My balance will be in negative. So what I can do is I can probably use an if function to say if I have a positive balance, then it's underspent, and if it is a negative balance, then it will be overspent. So I can use that logic. So what I'll do is if balance is greater than 0, the value is true, I'll say it's underspent. And the value is false, then it's overspent, so I'll say over spend. Close the bracket, hit enter and copy the formula down. What I'll do is insert a new tab and call it business units spend form and say 2 because I have one already. And the first thing I want to do is remove the grid line, so uncheck this, and then I'll select a range. And I'll put some boxes. And I'll merge this and format it as well. And copy this over. And also use a form background color. I prefer to use a lighter color. And then for the boxes, I want to use slightly different color. And let's start naming the boxes. It's quarter, this is business unit, budget, say spend percentage, balance, analysis. And I want to use data validation for the quarter and the business unit. So how can I do it? I need unique values. So in the data tab, I have the quarters. So I will select this and paste it here. And take the unique values only. So remove duplicates. Just decrease the size here a little bit. Yeah, okay. The same for the business unit as well. So I'll take this unique. So what I want to do now is say data validation. So which is go to data and click on data validation. So I want a list. So I'll select list and here I will select this list for the quarter and say okay. So now I have the quarters here. I'll do the same for the business units as well. Set all DL. The data validation box comes up, so I'll select list, and in the source select the list here and say okay. So now you have the business units as well. So generally what I want to do is keep this in some other tab, say let's say in data tab, but I brought this up here so that no, it's easy for me to illustrate, but otherwise no need to have it in the form sheet. So what I'll do here is I will select this and say paint white so that it's invisible. So now we have to use SUMIFS for this data to appear. So just before that, what we also want to do is in the data tab now create some named ranges so that you don't have to now use the range reference in another sheet manually. So I'll select this range, and in the name box here what I'll say is budget amount, and for the spent I'll say spent amount, and do the same for the quarters and the business units as well. Select the quarter and it's a BU. So now if we go to the form, now for the budget you can say SUMIFS tab, so it's asking for a sum range. What we want is budget amount, so I'll say budget amount, so you'll see this named range come up, so you'll tap this in, and then our criteria range would be one the quarter and then the business unit. So we'll start with the quarter. The criteria here is this. Likewise for criteria 2 we'll say BU, business unit, and then the actual criteria is this. And close the brackets and hit enter. We'll change the currency and we'll copy this down, and I would just change spent instead of budget, spent amount, so I have this. And for the spent percent, like how we applied formulas in the data tab, we would do the same. So spent by budget will give us the percentage by just changing the formatting to percentage. And for the balance I would say budget minus spent, give us this. And we'll do the same for analysis, what we did in the data tab, which is apply if formula. So I'll say if the balance is greater than 0, so it's underspent, else overspent. I would also want to apply conditional formatting, so I'll go to home, conditional formatting, manage rules. It's a new rule, format only cells that contain, I want text, so specific text containing say underspent. I want it as say green, because another rule, specific text containing overspent, format it as red. It's too red, I want to just lighten it a bit and say okay. So if we now change, yeah, that's fine. And now also want to kind of format this values in red if it is a negative. So again, conditional formatting, new rule, the cell value is lesser than 0. I want the font to be red. So, okay, that's fine. Just align this a little bit, and I would like to have a border around this form. Now let's put a pie chart here. So what I would do is just create a small table for the graph. What I would do is say budget, spent, and balance, and the amounts as well. Decrease the size, select the range and go to insert a pie chart. So now I have this. I don't want the title, remove that. I don't want the legend as well. Decrease this a bit to fit into this space. Say I want the color as this, and change the background color as well. Apply labels. And you can also color this white so it's not visible. And also, like I said, I would not normally keep this in data tab, but it's okay for now. Well, that's all for the video. Thank you for watching. Thank you.